What it do, YouTube, back with another video. We got little videos I found, you know what I'm saying? In the top left corner, you can see if you can read if you want to. The man who tried to fake a world record. Faking a world record is kind of crazy to me, cause like, why is you doing that? It's kind of stupid at the same time. Like, really, you won't get nothing from doing that if you really think about it. Understand what I'm saying? So let's get to the video.
This is Martin Telesforo, and he's about to get banned after just his third Rubik's Cube competition ever. On a Saturday in May of 2013, coming off of Mats Falk's historic 5.55 Rubik's Cube world record, making him the second person to ever solve a cube in under 6 seconds, the hunt for sub 5 was on. The most anticipated barrier in cubing history, and it was inevitable that one of the top two in the world was going to be the first to do it. But unbeknownst to anyone, that was all about to change at Perry Open 2013 in Mexico City, a competition that would forever live in infamy following the events of May 25th, 2013.
Tell us. Yeah. 2013? That been a minute.
Foro had signed up for this competition, having not competed since the year before, where he finished with a 17-second PR, good enough for around, keep going, 20,000th in the world. Martin Telesforo was nowhere near being a world-class solver. I'm not just saying that. His second solve of round 1 was an 18, but it was his first solve at Perry Open 2013 that would change the Rubik's Cube world record forever. At least, Telesforo thought so. A 4.41. The sub 5 barrier had just been shattered by a 17-second solver in his third official competition. At first, it was pandemonium. No one could believe their eyes. The timer said 4:41. And for all anyone knew, this was 100% real. Even the delegate announced it as an official world record. A crowd gathered around the table, and the man himself looked just as stunned as everyone else. And as all great mysteries begin, there was, of course, no footage of the solve. More and more people started to hear about Telesforo's 441, and it became abundantly clear that no one wanted to believe it. If it was true, this was a world record that would take at least 5 years for anyone to come close to. Was it even physically possible? Did a man who had never solved a cube in under 15 seconds before this just somehow break the most anticipated barrier in the world record's history? There's something you have to understand about this solve. A 17-second solver like Telesforo turns at an average of 3 to 4 turns per second. The sheer amount of luck needed for a 4.41 at this speed lands us at an 18-move solution. The average solution length from a top-level solver is 55. But 18 isn't impossible. The rule of God's number states that the cube can always be solved in 20 moves or less, no matter how scrambled it is, and there are currently 3 humans in the world who could feasibly do this, given about an hour or so to find an optimal solution. Just one problem. Martin Telesforo had 15 seconds to look at the cube before starting the timer. If a solution this perfect was even remotely possible, it would not come from someone like Telesforo. He couldn't have just gotten lucky. His solution had to be, at the very least, under God's number, beyond perfection itself. Telesforo would actually go on to show everyone at Perry Open 2013 exactly how he did it. How he had just pulled off the most stunning world record the Rubik's Cube had ever seen. His solution was 35 moves. And this is where things officially start to get odd. At first, the scramble he allegedly got doesn't seem lucky at all, but Telesforo's first 20 moves were perfect. With a little bit of luck along the way in the form of an OLL skip, his solutions seem feasible to be executed in 4.41. In a statement after the competition, Telesforo claimed it was confirmed that my solve was correctly executed and the scramble was correct. But as impressive as this perfect solution was, that wasn't even the strangest part, as Telesforo would then go on to mention that he made a mistake in the execution and decided to improvise some turns. Yes, the most perfect solve of all time had a mistake. This was both completely nonsensical and conveniently one of the only ways to explain the randomness of his first couple of moves. It was like magic. They follow no distinguishable solving method and are completely illogical, but also genius at the exact same time.
You telling me this nigga hit 35 moves? He said 35, but the exact move that you need is like 20 moves. So I'm assuming he had to be already looking at the cube and he already played with it at first. So he got a feeling for it. So he just, you know what I'm saying?
Telesforo's world record solve can effectively be broken into 2 parts. The first 20 moves were done in an impossibly optimal way. at least on paper. When actually attempting to execute these moves in a speed solve, they are incredibly difficult to do quickly. 21-time world record holder Kevin Hayes tried to beat the 441 with the exact same scramble and solution from the world record, and after 100 tries, he barely managed to get a 4.34. The second part of the solve gave it an easily spammable and fast finish, but the fact that all 6 faces of the cube are turned during these first 20 moves of the solution made people extremely skeptical of Telesforo's ability to have actually pulled this off. And there were of course skeptics, but also eyewitnesses, people who claimed to have actually seen the solve happen in real time. After all, there had to be a judge to sign off on the legitimacy of the solve in the first place, right? Well, Ernesto Mendoza Dimas, a highly respected figure in the community, insisted he was 2 feet away from the man when it happened, sitting in this chair right here. But this video of the aftermath, which also shows the delegate, Ruiz, celebrating Telesforo's world record, quickly became the main catalyst for some extreme suspicion. It's here where we arrive at one of the only feasible ways he could have actually pulled this off. You see, Telesforo said he remembered scrambling for a 2x2 round, but only competed in 3x3 and had no involvement in the scrambling for it. That alone isn't nearly enough to prove anything. But then came a much more troubling detail. This video shows Telesforo posing with the timer, but just feet away was a scrambling table highly exposed to competitors without proper concealing of any sort. Maybe, just maybe, Telesforo had access to the computer-generated scrambles beforehand, allowing him to create an optimal solution that looked just real enough to be believable. But apparently, not believable enough. The community was in complete denial that this could have possibly happened. It had to be fake or the result of a timer malfunction, displaying the time as a 4.41 when in reality it was much slower. 121-time world record holder Felix Zemdeg simply put it bluntly that having a world record holder whose second best time is 15 seconds would seriously undermine the credibility of the WCA. The community was divided. There were plenty of people who believed Telesforo's world record was simply a result of insane luck, but a 4.41 world record was daunting either way. It would take years for anyone to ever come close. Telesforo remained unwavering in his claim to the world record, and when confronted by the World Cube Association 6 days after the record, Telesforo confirmed his 35-move solution. This left the WCA in a difficult position because they didn't actually have any evidence to prove that the solve didn't happen, only shaky evidence that it did. Telesforo repeatedly argued that they were simply looking for a reason to invalidate his world record without actually considering the full story. It had been 13 days since the competition, and the WCA had to make a decision. All evidence pointed to the fact that Telesforo's solve was possible, incredibly unlikely by all means, but possible. He continued to stand firm, and no one who competed at Paris Open 2013, not a single person, ever came forward about this world record being blatantly fake. But finally, on June 7th, 2013, an official decision was made about the incident at Paris Open 2013. After examining both Telesforo's miracle solution and the situation as a whole, the World Cube Association determined that his solve was simply too perfect. Either he had the scramble sequences before the round, or he used a software device during the round. Reinforcing the strangeness of his solution, it wasn't reminiscent of any solving method and lacked a logical flow. Telesforo's solution was so perfect that it made no sense at all. The WCA ended up disqualifying not only the 4.41, but every single result from the competition as a whole. Though there were multiple people at the competition who confirmed the world record and claimed to have seen it happen, the WCA still decided to disqualify the result. The Paris Open 2013 incident case ended with Telesforo receiving a 2-year ban due to dishonesty of the competitor and attempted exploitation of the WCA. Martin Telesforo seemingly disappeared from the community and has not competed since. He quickly became a legend in the South American cubing community, and the situation as a whole came to be known as El Feo, or The Ugly, a day that changed the history of the Rubik's Cube world record forever, and then was completely erased just days later. On the extremely slim chance Telesforo did somehow pull off this solve, and has been telling the truth the whole time, this might just be the craziest miracle in cubing history. And if the ruling was correct, and he did fake the solve, imagine if his solution was just a little bit more believable. Getting lucky is not a crime. A perfect solution that was just a little too perfect. It would also be perfect if you took a half second to press the white button right there below the video. Yeah, that one right there. That would fulfill my...
I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all boys. And the root the I feel like personally, I feel like he really, if you really think about it, there was no video. The only video you got was him solving it. But like he's him solving it. That's the only video you get. That's the only video you get from it. Him solving it. But all that, you don't get no other thing from that. And plus, they said dishonesty when he was trying to say it's not dishonest. I was doing this such the third. So he was telling the truth, he was telling the truth. He was saying I did it this and the third, but nobody believed him. Nobody believed him. So either way, you can't say he was cheating. You can't say he was cheating because he wasn't cheating. You can't say he was trying to manipulate. He wasn't manipulating because you have no proof of him manipulating. So it's a he say she say moment. Since they are a bigger organization, they could say, oh, we gonna do such and such. If even though if he did cheat, right? Let's say he did cheat. Let's say he did cheat, and people around would have said, oh, he did cheat this and the third, but nobody came out and said he cheated. Let's say he did it for real. Let's say he did it for real. Let's say he did it for real. Let's say he did actually got lucky and did it. Nah, you got people in there say, "Oh, damn, y'all took the record away because y'all feel like he cheated." But realistic, he did it. He really won. But y'all don't feel the type of way since since he's a world record holder, and he got banned for 2 years for no. Y'all have no evidence, none of that. Y'all banned him. But it's the end of the video, y'all boys. I appreciate y'all boys coming through. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all boys coming through. But it's in the video. Y'all boys stay safe, stay chill, and stay out.